Hey guys, Chris here from theguitarcoach.org. Today I'm going to talk to you about power chords. So much fun. And just a couple of fingers and just a couple of strings. You've heard these chords if you're into rock, hard rock, pop, country even, definitely blues, all those different styles. You've definitely heard this chord shape used in all kinds of songs. So we'll get you started here. Pick any frets along your E string. That's where we'll start this. I'm going to choose the 5th fret here, and this is an A note. So now, as I talk about in all of my chord videos, this lowest note or dominant note, also called the root note, is going to be the name of the chord. So this is an A note, so I'm going to play an A power chord. Now, what you want to do is take your 3rd finger, bring it down to the 7th fret of the string underneath the E string, which is now the A string. So what you also want to do with that 3rd finger is throw in the D string note right underneath it. So this finger is essentially getting 2 strings, the A string and the D string, laying flat on the face of that finger. And you're also fretting this note on the face of the finger. I know in my other chord videos I talk about using those tips so much, which is very important for certain chords. This chord, not so much. We're going to use the face of both of these fingers. Now it may look like from this angle that my 2nd finger is touching something. It is not. It's just kind of hanging loose there. Pinky, same thing as well. Just kind of hanging out there back by the 3rd finger's knuckle here. Okay, so again, holding down this note on the E string, these 2 notes from your A and D string on the 7th fret. I'm going to hit all 3. But that's all you want to hit, just those 3 strings. And you can tell by my amp there, I've got kind of a dirty or distorted sound there. That's just adding to the flavor here of this chord. And that's the beauty of playing this chord. It allows you to change amp tones and get some pretty cool sounds, because there's not so many notes in the chord clouding up the overall sound. Anyway, that's another lesson altogether. Let's just play this thing. So again, I'm just striking 3 strings, and you can see with this, my pick hand, I'm just doing some downstrokes there. But really, that's all it is. That note on my E string, these 2 notes from my D and A string, held together by just that finger, okay? Now, here's why it's important that we use the face of our fingers. Because of the fact that that forces this finger to go straight down along the other strings. Same thing with this one. Because I'm using the face of this finger and not the tip, I'm not hooking around, okay? We don't want this finger to hook around with this chord, because we need this part of the finger. We need this part of it to keep these other strings that we're not using quiet. So if I use the face of my finger, that forces this finger to come down, and you can feel it. If you're already doing this, you can feel the skin of your fingers touching those strings, which is a good thing. You want those strings quiet while those strings ring. So if you happen to strike a little too much, those strings will be dead, and that's what you want, okay? This is kind of what I call defensive guitar playing, but that's another lesson to talk about. For right now, just that shape. Just those 3 strings, my G, my B, my E strings are all being kept quiet by the skin of the fingers that I'm using to fret these notes, okay? So, power chord. Now the cool thing about that shape that I'm playing with this power chord is that it's movable. I can go up and down that E string and play that same thing, and the pattern doesn't change. Okay, now same thing on your A string. I'm going to go down here. Now you can see I'm on the 5th fret. My root note, or lowest note, strongest note in the chord, is on my A string. This is the D note. This finger is getting the 2 notes on the 7th fret of the D and G string. And I only want those 3 strings to ring. Okay. Now tips on avoiding having this string ring while you're playing those A string power chords. Just nudge this finger up just a little bit so that this very tip here is touching or muting the E string. Okay, and once again, like I talked about a few minutes ago, this part of my skin is keeping those high strings quiet. So, that's the power chord, guys. I know I did a lot of talking here about the other technique involved in keeping the other strings quiet, but that is very important. But really, all this chord is just 3 strings that you're holding down and 2 fingers. So it's a very simple chord and a lot of fun. However, there are other things involved you might want to pay attention to as you progress or get better at this shape. So just keep that in mind, but by all means play those shapes wherever you want, with your amp cranked up to 10 with some distortion really kicking, and rock out to some of your favorite, I don't know, AC/DC songs, Led Zeppelin songs, Guns N' Roses songs. They all use that shape. So have some fun, guys. That is a power chord. Talk to you soon. Oh, and if you guys want some more tips on, of course, using this, like the technique I was using here, by all means go to my website, theguitarcoach.org, and of course subscribe to my YouTube channel. Talk to you guys soon. Later.